Welcome back to another episode of Free the Plant, Free the People, presented by BluRok Farms. I'm your host, LeVar Eady, and today we're having an episode that's all about healing with the herb. And so that's right, we're going to be exploring the therapeutic benefits of cannabis and the potential it is in promoting wellness. So let's talk about, we're going to be talking about from medical marijuana, or medical cannabis, to CBD. And we're going to dive into science-based evidence of how these are helping people and different ways that it can potentially help you. So let's sit back, relax. If you got a joint, light it up. If you got a vape, hit it. If you got a bong, hit that as well, or take a little bite of that edible. And let's dive into today's conversation about the health benefits of cannabis. So to kick off medical, we're going to start with medical cannabis. And with medical cannabis, I think there should be a different approach in regards to how it's cultivated versus recreational cannabis. It can be combined; they both can be in the same. But if you are going to split it up, I think there should be a difference in how medical cannabis is grown. And what I mean by that is the approach that I feel that I take with when I grow my flower is I want it to be consistent, and I want it to be as pure and regenerative and environmentally friendly as possible. I don't want to add synthetics, anything like that to it, because again, I want it to be a clean experience for the consumer. Because again, if you're taking this for a medical reason, I want it to be clean so that it's good for the body in any form that it's consumed in, as well as that you get the effects that you need and that it's reproducible. So that if you are experiencing if you know that this particular strain at this dosage grown by this particular grower gives the effect that relieves your medical ailments, I want to have it reproducible so that anytime that you want to get that relief, you can buy my product or or use that particular cultivar and you get that effect every time. So that is, I think, the approach that should be taken when it is in regards to the cultivation, in regards to medical versus recreational. Now, let's talk about the different components, THC and CBD. So THC has a psychoactive effect, CBD doesn't. I believe that you need both components to really get the major benefits that come with it, because it is an entourage effect. There is a synergistic ability that these two chemical components have, these molecules have, is they work together in different ways, as well as with the other cannabinoids. We still don't quite understand the full mechanism at which, how the terpenes, how the different cannabinoids, the flavonoids, all work together, but we know that they do have an effect on each other. So that's why I think having a little bit of both in whatever ratios that you need to get the effect that you want is important. We all have endocannabinoid systems, so your body's going to have a different effect to my body. For some people, like I've stated before, with sativas, for some people, it can cause severe anxiety. I haven't had a sativa that's caused any anxiety for me. I'm a sativa fan. So keeping that in mind, that my endocannabinoid system responds to sativa in a positive manner, and it doesn't give me that anxiety, that jittery feeling. So that's something to keep in mind with how your consumption and how you're going to be using these benefits. There are a lot of studies that have shown that medical cannabis does have effects on a multitude of conditions, from neuropathy, managing pain, reducing inflammation, working as an anti-inflammatory, again, reducing inflammation, alleviating other symptoms like chronic illnesses from multiple sclerosis to epilepsy. You can Google a lot of different cases where in a previous episode where I've talked about Rick Simpson oil, that being applied to children having epileptic seizures, and then in a couple of minutes, in some cases, again, even a couple of like 30 to 45 seconds, you see the transformation of them having that seizure to their bodies being calmed down and being back to pretty much normal. So there are a lot of evidence to back up the medical components and medical qualities that cannabis can have. We still need to do more research, and I believe once federal legalization happens across the nation, we're going to see an explosion in medical benefits because the research dollars will be able to back up this research and get it to scales where we can actually determine really what effect it's having, at what dosages it's having, what particular strains, what particular cannabinoids, what particular flavonoids. And I also believe that we'll have a very much deeper understanding of the mechanism of how all of these different components and molecules are working together. But we need to get there. So talk to your senator, talk to your governor, talk to legislation, and let's try to get this moving forward so that we can get this research to the capacity. Because I believe at the end of the day, cannabis is going to be one of the plants that's going to cure cancer and cure a lot of other illnesses that we are just understanding. So that's what I wanted to talk about in regards to the medical cannabis side. We definitely in later episodes will dive a lot more deeper into these topics and have different experts in those fields to give more understanding behind them. But I do want to talk about now CBD in particular. CBD has been coming by storm in the last couple of years since the Farm Bill of 2018, which allowed more farmers to grow CBD nationwide. And so that happened in 2018. So we've seen an explosion in CBD products. Some of them have been good, some of them have been bad. Excuse me. But they all, to me, are helping push the narrative forward, or at least getting more people interested. Some of these products are giving more of the placebo effect because they're not having enough percentages or quantities of CBD to really have an effect. And in other cases, they're not having any THC component in it, which really you need some THC in it. Again, this is my perspective, and based on the research that I've seen, that you need some component of THC to really get the medical benefits, even with CBD. But you can have the component or the amount of THC low enough that you don't get the psychoactive effects that you might not desire, but still get the medical benefits when it's combined with CBD. Just making sure those ratios are in the ranges of 10 to 1, 20 to 1, so that you still have that balance, but you're getting it. I also believe in full spectrum. And full spectrum meaning that you're taking all of the beneficial components out of it, and that's what you're getting. But you're not, where if you get like a distillate or isolate, you're isolating specifically what you want, the CBD component. With distillate, you're isolating several components, but you're not getting the full spectrum of all the flavonoids, all the terpenes, all the cannabinoids. So that's why I tend to move towards full spectrum when it comes to the CBD products that I use. So again, if you're having any of these conditions, definitely talk to your doctor. Make sure that any of these products would be safe for you to use. You can have allergic reactions. Some of it probably, from my opinion, it probably won't be the CBD or the THC that's causing the allergic reaction. It's probably something that's tied to it. Like, let's say you're using a salve. You might be allergic to the cocoa butter. You might be allergic to the shea butter. You might be allergic to, in some of those components, they put like beeswax or essential oils to give the smell. So just look at all the ingredients on it and make sure that it's safe and easy for you to use. I do want to bring up this as well, which is we do have an affiliated tag with LeafWell, which you can get a medical cannabis card so that you can get discounts on products and be able to have cannabis in multiple states because of your card saying that this is a medical benefit for you. So definitely keep that in mind. Use our code BluRok Farm 10 to get $10 off your cannabis card, and that's anywhere in the nation. That's not just here in New Mexico. That's anywhere in the nation. You can, again, use our code BluRok Farm 10 and visit leafwell.com to get more information about that, as well as see what pricing is available for you. I do want to go now into a little bit more about CBD and how it has an effect on different components of. I did kind of briefly talk about the salves and the tinctures. So that's how you get the muscle relief. in it without having the psychoactive effect is get you a CBD salve topical. Just put a little bit on your skin and it helps. I use it for my back. I make my own salve out of my products that I grow at home, and so I make my own salves. I use it for my back sometimes, my knee, and it helps provide relief, similar to like an icy hot. I just like it better. I feel like it lasts a little bit longer, and the smell is better for me. So that's different ways to think about the medical benefits that you can get with using CBD, and creating a balance in your own life, and how it affects your endocannabinoid system. Like I said before, we'll dive deeper into these topics a little bit more and give a lot more research behind it and scientific based information for you guys. This is just kind of intro into it for you. So now we're going to talk a little bit more about specifically stories of. I'm going to give you a little bit of stories about how cannabis has helped me medically, and how I've seen other people. I'm not going to give anybody's name or descriptive identifiers of these people, just so that they can remain anonymous. For me personally, I have migraines as well as ocular migraines, and some back pain. Uh, with my migraines, they can get so bad that it's to the point where I can't do anything. I have to go in a cave, as I say. I tell my fiance is I got to go in the cave because my head is just pounding. Like any sound, any light, any movement, it just my head is just throbbing, pounding. I feel it makes me it hurts so much. It causes me to feel nauseated, which the nausea makes me move, which makes me feel the migraine even worse. So it's just a compounding effects. And for me, the consumption of cannabis helps relieve that. I have a nice indica that I use. I like Bubba Kush, particularly. That helps with for me for my migraines. If I kind of feel like an onset, or I feel like I can kind of feel it coming on, I'll smoke a joint. I hit a bowl. Um, I'll hit a quick vape pen of particular indicas. There's different ones that I like that I use. Like I mentioned, Bubba Kush is one of them. Um, that's the main one I really like. Granddaddy Perp is one I use a lot as well, to help alleviate that. Now, with my ocular migraines, for those that aren't familiar, ocular migraines are they're migraines as well, but they are identified. They give a kind of warning sign. It's kind of like a flashing sign that says, "Hey, you're about to get a migraine. You can do something about it." For me, what I see is it looks like zigzags, or as if you're looking through a kaleidoscope. Sometimes it'll look like little wavy lines, like kind of vibrating in my vision. They're not there, of course, because there's no wavy lines in the air, but it causes those visual disturbances. And once I see that, I know that usually I'm going to get a migraine in about 15 to 20 minutes. When that comes on, I'll go smoke, or I'll go take a CBD tincture, or go smoke. Like I said, that's really what I go to is go smoke, um, or I might even take an edible, a fast-acting edible, so that by the time that edible kicks in, that migraine has begin to subside. So those are just kind of things that helped me particularly in regards to migraines. Um, I had a friend that has epilepsy, and has it pretty bad, and I've been growing for a long time, as I mentioned several times, and came to me one day and was like, "Hey, can you make me a tincture, or can you give me something that you think might help with this?" And at that point, I was really early into my growing career. I didn't understand all of the components what to help kind of guide them. It was more of trial and error. I was like, well, I have this indica growing. Here, try that. And, they would try that. It didn't work. They liked it. They liked the taste, all that. But the effect, it didn't stop or alleviate the symptoms that they were trying to recover from. And so we just kind of trial and error, and then we found one that did have some effect, and then I just kind of started perfecting that and working with that, and we eventually got to the point where now I know this particular strain, this cultivar that we've developed in association with each other, uh, them giving the feedback about how and what was working, what wasn't working, what they liked, what they didn't like, and going back and forth, and through several runs, finally finding one that alleviated 90% of the symptoms. And so that is what now they just come to me, and I know which one to give them. And I think that's kind of the way that we should be approaching. I think that's the way we should be approaching medicine. Period. Um, and I believe this is going to be a weird transition. Talking about AI. Uh, with AI, it will give us the ability, I believe, if used correctly, to more gear medicine to be on an individual basis. Because right now, the way the pharmaceutical industry works is they're finding out what is the lowest dosage for medications to alleviate the highest amount of symptoms. And that works amongst the broadest amount of people. That is great, yes, because that is the current system that we're in. But if we have the ability for AI to be able to fine tune those to make it on an individual basis, that would be even better. Because let's say you get migraines and 25 milligrams of Excedrin is what is needed for you. But for me, I only need 15. But in the store, they only sell 25, 50, or 25, 40, whatever it is. They don't sell the actual milligrams that would be I need that would alleviate my symptoms uh, with the least amount of dosage. With AI, I believe we can get to the point where we can start doing that. So that just a weird transition or segue into that is just something that came to my mind as talking about this topic with you guys. So that is where I think healthcare should go, and I think that's especially where the cultivation of cannabis should go. It should be, if possible, as much on an individual basis as we can, and really try to help as many people as we can with the least amount. Again, because we don't want to put too much in people's bodies. So that leads me to another section about with wellness and health is how you're ingesting it. And there was a recent study that I just read that, again, there's still more research that needs to be done on it to really confirm and determine if this is a long withstanding downside to the consumption of cannabis. There's a paper that was written that stated that longtime users and everyday users of cannabis can have complications when it comes to surgery in regards to anesthetics. And what that paper was basically determining, based on that study, was that everyday cannabis users had harder times being anesthetized for surgery. The anesthetization didn't last as long in those particular patients, and there was more side effects that would occur after the surgery as a result. Again, this is very early research that still needs more studies to be determined if there's any other outside factors that affected those results. But it's something to keep in mind. That's why I say again that research is really needed to determine the best way that we can be using these products, using this wonderful plant that has wonderful components and aspects to it. But with everything in life, you can't. Moderation in anything is key. Water is the key to life. Like, we need water to live, but you can die if you drink too much water too quickly. So anything in excess can be bad for you. But we need more research to determine what are these points, what are these data points to get us to where we need to be. But so those are some of the things that I wanted to bring up in regards to how the medical benefits of cannabis and CBD can affect people, and it's something to think about. I would love to know if there's any specific illnesses, ailments that you've used for cannabis or CBD that has helped alleviate your symptoms. And, we'd love to hear your personal stories. Definitely send it to us. Our email is levaready, LEVAREADY, @gmail.com. You can send us your stories, and we might read some of them on the episode or on the show. So again, I want to say thank you all for listening to this information about the medical aspects of cannabis and CBD and how it can potentially help and heal the world. So thank you again for listening to another episode of Free the Plant, Free the People. I'm LeVar Eady, and this episode is presented by BluRok Farms, as well as definitely check out LeafWell to get your $10 off your cannabis, your medical cannabis cards. And we're out.